Welcome to College Smart Radio, helping you bring into focus the true cost of college and how to tackle the runaway cost of financing a college education. College Smart Radio is hosted by Beatrice Schultz, a certified financial planner and founder of Westface College Planning. Now, here's your host for College Smart Radio, Beatrice Schultz.
Welcome to College Smart Radio. If your child is a C student and you assume that there are not people willing to write scholarship checks for C students, this show will prove that you are wrong. On today's College Smart Radio program, we're going to talk about traditional and non-traditional ideas to find college scholarships even if you have lower grades. Hi, I'm Beatrice Schultz. Welcome to our weekly show, College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of a college education. Our show is all about bringing up-to-date and practical advice to parents who are dealing with the cost of a college education for their kids. College is expensive and getting more so each year. With a private school costing up to $60,000, a UC costing close to $35,000, and a California State University running $25,000 per year, parents need more help than ever. We bring you that help by sharing ways to pay less, tapping into financial aid, and prioritizing your source of funds to make sure you get through the most expensive years of your life. Based on my own education and experience, I share my insights with you week in and week out. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and a Master's degree in International Business. I'm a certified financial planner and the owner of the San Carlos-based college planning business, Westface College Planning. We host workshops on college planning and consult with parents on a daily basis. In addition to my insights, I bring in experts in many areas of the college process, from counselors, financial aid officers, college administrators, financial professionals, parents, and even students. You'll learn firsthand the ins and outs of how to pay for college and survive financially. In addition to our show, you can find lots of powerful information at our collegesmartradio.com and westfacecollegeplanning.com websites. We have many articles that I've authored with up-to-date information on navigating the waters of paying for the runaway cost of college. We have a monthly e-newsletter full of content about college planning. We also have posted a glossary of key terms used in the world of college planning. Terms like total cost of attendance, FAFSA, student assets, base year, and so forth. And we have a link to our free community parent workshops that we host to teach parents how to pay for college and how the financial aid system really works. Now let's get into today's show. Students often fail to pursue scholarships because they believe only the most exceptional applicants receive them. The truth is that you don't have to be a straight A student to earn financial support in the form of a merit scholarship. In fact, the amount of merit money available to college applicants is truly astonishing, and much of that money is going to B and C students. Very few students are paying full published prices for their college cost attendance. By definition, consideration of academic talent and performance are factors in the allocation of any merit money, but the level of achievement required to win these scholarships may surprise you. C students have opportunities for scholarships. If you're a C student and you have a history of participation and growth in extracurricular activities, as well as involvement in your community, you've got an excellent chance of winning the traditional types of scholarships, which highlight your participation and involvement in these types of community activities. So you're going to want to highlight your participation and involvement in your student resume and an essay, and that's going to help you be successful. Student leadership is typically honored, and much merit money is set aside for those high school students that have been leaders in their community. For example, Richmond University offers 25 Bonner scholarships to students with demonstrated commitment to service. For these programs, commitment trumps the grade point average. There are also organizations and individuals that offer scholarships specifically for C students. Why not? I'm sure many of our listeners know people who didn't have high marks in high school, but did great in college and in their careers. Indeed, I know of adults who dropped out of high school, then went back to college as adults and were very successful. For example, in the eyes of W. Hall Wendell Jr., you don't have to be an A-plus student to deserve a college scholarship. Mr. Wendell is the former chairman and chief executive of Polaris Industry, the maker of Polaris snowmobiles, motorcycles, and all-terrain vehicles. Very successful businessman. He's been giving millions to fund scholarships for college since the early 1980s. In short, Mr. Wendell isn't focused on scholarships for students at the top of his class, but on everything else, on everyone else. He focuses on the C or C plus students because that's what he was. And he was successful. Informal scholarships are not the only way for a student to find money to pay for college. What you might not know is that you can also earn money for college through some rather untraditional methods. My guest today on College Smart Radio was a C student herself in high school. She beat the odds to win over $100,000 in scholarships to attend college by getting creative. Today, Felecia Hatcher is an author and social entrepreneur. For the past decade, she's dedicated her life to inspiring a new generation of leaders through her conversational talks on entrepreneurship, college funding, and personal branding. She travels the world speaking to students and young adults and is the author of 3 books: The C Student's Guide to Scholarships, Pimp My Resume, and How to Start a Business on a Ramen Noodle Budget. Felicia's been honored by the White House as one of the top 100 entrepreneurs under 30. In her book titled The C Student's Guide to Scholarships, Felecia shares her secrets of being a C student in high school and winning over $100,000 in scholarships and grants to attend college. Felecia, it's a pleasure to have you on our show today. Welcome to College Smart Radio.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. I'm so excited to be on your show. It's definitely an honor.
Well, let's start by thinking about the concept that C students deserve to go to college. Maybe you can share a little bit of your insight on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's my story. You know, that's who I was as a high school student. I like to tell the story that my mother hates that I tell, that if you could major and minor in anything in high school, I majored and minored in the 2 Bs, which are boys and basketball, which left very little time for studying. And I really didn't understand the importance of, you know, my grades and what that was going to mean 4 years later as a senior. And at the end of my freshman year, I ended up with a 2.1 GPA, which is pretty ugly, you know, especially if you want to go to college. You know, you're told you need a minimum, like very bare minimum 3.0, and then, you know, a whole other conversation about trying to look for scholarships, you know, very minimum 3.0, 3.5 if you want to get scholarships. So I was, you know, I definitely had the cards stacked up against me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, I knew that I wanted to go to college. I knew that I had to go to college because my mom was like, hey, you're either going to college or you're going to the military. But then I also knew that my parents didn't have the money to pay for myself or my younger brother, who was a year under me, to go to college. And, you know, all that kind of stacked against me, coupled with a guidance counselor that pretty frankly told me, hey, you know what, you're not college material. You're never going to make it to college. You're never going to make it to a university. You should just look at getting a trade. So with all of this stacked against me, especially with my guidance counselor, you know, with her saying that and kind of telling my future and trying to define what my future was going to look like, I think it was that kick in the butt that I needed to say, you know what, let me try and prove this guidance counselor wrong. And I started picking up applications. I started to see that there were patterns. I started to see that there were opportunities past what I had made up in my mind, and everyone was telling me that, you know, C students don't get scholarships and that the opportunities aren't there for them, and that's just not true.
So Felecia, if people are listening to the show right now and there's some parents on the show or maybe some kids in the car too who are saying, oh, that is me, what are the steps you need to take to start thinking about this? And when did you start putting together your plan? Was it in your senior year, or were you starting to work on this earlier in your junior year?
You know, I started to look at applications in my junior year, but I really didn't take the process seriously. You know, I really started to look my senior year, September, October, like this is the prime time. But, you know, I had way more work to do. So I often try and tell parents and their students, you know, really the scholarship process starts as a freshman in college, if not sooner. You know, I like to tell people you have to lean into the process. You know, scholarships are kind of like the lotto. If you don't play, there's no way that you're going to win. Same thing with scholarships. If you don't apply, scholarships very rarely, if ever, fall into anyone's lap. So, you know, as far as what you should be doing today, and what you should be doing for the rest of the semester is one, grades are important. I never want to promote mediocre or bad grades, but if it's your senior year and your back's up against the wall, it's going to be pretty impossible to raise a 2.5 to a 4.0 in the next few months. And that's the main reason I wrote that book. But, focusing on your grades, you definitely don't want them to drop. Making sure that you're joining the right organizations. There are a lot of organizations like FBLA and like DECA, like the SECME organization, which is an engineering organization, that have opportunities exclusive to their members. So joining the right organization, making sure that you are doing a lot of community service. The amount of time that you're working with organizations that you're passionate about could mean the difference between you winning a scholarship over someone else who is just equally as qualified as you. If you have a 4.0 and they have a 4.0, then what else is going to separate? How are they going to pick the winner? And they pick it by looking at what else differentiates between the both of you.
And Felecia, in your story, were you already involved in the community before you'd gotten to your senior year, or were you? Was that something that you started to get more involved when you were in your senior year?
No, I did a lot of community service. I was a part of a lot of student organizations. I was part of SGA. I was part of the basketball team. I was part of the golf team. Part of a leadership organization. I did a lot of community service. By the time of my senior year, I had a few thousand. I think I had about maybe 1,000 hours in community service. But I just, but because I was told that my GPA defined my path, I didn't understand that all these other things that I was doing were marketable to scholarship committees. That's why it's so important to really understand that just because you're not that good in one area, it doesn't define you. Scholarship committees are looking for the entire package because they are investing in you as a student at the end of the day.
That's really valuable information. I'm going to interrupt you for a quick break here. You're with us on College Smart Radio, where my guest today is Felecia Hatcher, social entrepreneur and author of The C Student's Guide to Scholarships. We all know that college is expensive and will most likely be some of the most costly years for a family. And understanding how to navigate those college costs and save everywhere you can is a really smart thing to know. To help families beyond this radio show, I host community workshops around the Bay Area several times a month that explain the cost of various colleges, how the financial aid system works, and things to consider to prepare yourself for this tremendous expense. You can find my workshop schedule at collegesmartradio.com. We'll be right back with Felecia Hatcher on College Smart Radio.
For more information on today's topic, visit collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. College Smart Radio continues in moments on AM 1220 KDOW. Contact Beatrice Schultz at collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. Now, back to College Smart Radio with your host Beatrice Schultz on AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back to College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of college. I'm Beatrice Schultz. I'm talking with my guest, Felecia Hatcher, about how to earn money for college through some traditional and untraditional methods. Felecia, we were just talking a little bit about community service and how important it is and how it really was a part of your plan. But it's really important to educate kids and parents about how important it is for, I think, making you a better person, and also how the colleges do consider that when they're thinking about offering you scholarships.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where it's twofold. It's helping the community, but it also makes you more marketable to scholarship committees. Another part of that is you are building relationships with organizations that you're working with and that you're volunteering with that may be able to benefit you on your scholarship search in the long run. When you think of recommendation letters that pretty much every single application asks for, the organization that you're volunteering with, you're doing a great job, they wouldn't hesitate to write a recommendation letter, a glowing recommendation for you that can really help you with your scholarship process. The same thing with maybe even some of those same organizations have scholarship opportunities. And if you've been there, you're dedicating your time as a teenager, we know how valuable that free time on the weekend is. But if you're showing them your character, showing them leadership,